family. This is me, Mary C, coming to you yet again with another video. And this time around, I want to talk to you guys about uh, what do you need if you're just starting out canning. What are some of the tools that you should have on hand? And I'm just going to show you, because first of all, let me say this. I'm here to help the family. Okay, I'm here to help you if I can. I am not an expert at this, but I can show you what works for me and what I do. So that's what I'm going to do. First of all, if you're going to be canning, you're going to need either a water bath canner or a pressure canner. And I'm going to show you the two. This is a water bath canner. And you will use this for non-meat, non-beans, things like jelly and jams, and for pickling. We did our bread and butter pickles in this. You can do just the regular pickles in this. Jellies and jams, like I said beforehand. I do believe I processed my pears and my apples in this as well. And there's a reason why you would not use this for meats and beans and potatoes and such. It does not have the same pressure. I've got another pot in here, storing another pot inside. But it doesn't have the same pressure that is needed for those types of foods to process. So look it up. Again, I'm not an expert at this, but I do know that when I use this, I use it for my jams, my jellies, pickling, and things like that. So it has a tray on the inside of it. It's pretty deep. And let me put this up here for right here. The tray will sit, I don't know if you can see that. The tray will sit on the rim like this while you're filling it up with your jars. This one here, when I use it, whatever size jar I'm going to use, I will fill this. I will fill the canner up over the lids of the jars when I'm processing in this one here, which is a little different than what you do with the pressure canner. So this again is a water bath canner, and if you plan on doing jellies and jams and things like that, recipes that call for a water bath canner, you're going to need one of these. I bought this one over at Walmart, and I can't remember exactly how much they cost, but they're not too expensive. They're not too bad. It comes with the tray on the inside, the one tray, and it comes with the lid. Since I'm short on space, I'm going to put this back in. And I'm going to put it back over here. So that is the water bath canner, and this one is the pressure canner. And this guy here is also, it also has a deep body to it. And this is the largest, this is a Presto canner, by the way. The Presto, and this is the largest one, and I don't remember exactly the size of it that it is. And when I bought this one, it came with a tray. If I can reach in here, it came with one tray. If you plan on stacking jars, pint-sized jars or half-pint jars, you can't really stack the quarts because you see it just won't work. So not quarts, but you can stack the pint-sized jars and the half pints and the small ones, the smaller ones. If you plan on doing that, you're going to need to purchase an additional tray for stacking. If you don't purchase an additional tray, what you can do is you can stack these guys. These are the rims. You can stack the rims on the lower, on the bottom of the canner, and then use the put your jars in on top of the rings, and then use this as your second tray, and then put your jars on top of that. So if you don't want to purchase another tray, you can use these if you have enough of them. Okay, so let me put this back on. This make sure I put it on right. This particular canner came with a weight, and it came with a 15-pound weight. But for my altitude, I needed a 10-pound weight. So I had been following some YouTubers that were talking about, in the process, the weight doing a jiggle dance. Well, this is the weight that comes with this Presto canner. It is 15 pounds. It will not dance. So if you're expecting it to dance, don't, because it's not going to dance. It's not the type of weight that will do the jiggle dance. I purchased this on Amazon. This is, it was I believe, a 15-pound weight. And it has the rings, 5-pound rings that you take off and put back on. And I believe, and I think this might be 5 pounds as well. And I took off one of the rings, so it made it the 10. But I did get this one from Amazon. So if you're going to follow a recipe that calls for it to do a jiggle dance, you're probably going to want to purchase an additional weight that will, especially if you're in your altitude like mine, where you need the 10 pounds, will allow you to wait for that little jiggle dance. Otherwise, you're going to be confused. What the heck is going on? I'm waiting for the jiggle, because that's what happened to me the first time through. I didn't know I needed to buy a 10-pound weight. I used this and it never danced. And I was so nervous, and I was afraid I'd done something wrong. But I hadn't. It was just, everything worked out well, because as I tell you, the good Father is with me along my journey every single time. So anyways, this is the Presto canner, pressure canner. This is the one that you want to process your butter, beans, any meats that you're going to do. This is the best buddy for processing those types of things. I showed you once beforehand, and I probably should go over and get it, because I'm talking about tools. Give me a second. I'm going to go over and get a couple of my books, okay? I'm going to put this back over there. I don't think I'm going to need it any longer. Before I get the books, let me say this. Inside of this canner are measurement lines. So when you're going to process your food in this canner here, you want to, or this one, or any other type of pressure canner, check your manufacturer's guide. It will tell you how much water you're going to need in your canner before you process, okay? This one has measurement lines in it, and I normally fill this one about 3.5 quarts of full with water, okay? So if your manufacturer calls for a different measurement amount, go with the manufacturer's guide. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, my darlings, with a few books that I have here to help me, and I will share them with you. Now, I am not endorsing these books, because I'm not getting any kickbacks or anything back from them. I'm just sharing with you some of the books that I have in my library to help me when it comes to canning and doing other things to preserve my food. So this is called The Beginner's Guide to Preserving Food at Home. It may be helpful to you. It has easy instructions for canning, freezing, drying, brining, you name it. It's got a few things in here. And this book is by Janet Chadwick. So this is one of the books that I have in my library. Hopefully you can see that. I think it is a good addition to anybody's library who is trying to preserve their food. Also, the ball canning book is another good one to have, because this one tells you all of the rules as far as like right way of preserving your foods. It's got some pretty neat recipes inside as well, but This one I have not used other than to look up to make sure I was on the right track when it came to canning. Have not used any of the recipes in here, so I'm just going to let you know I have not used any of the recipes in here, but it's a pretty good one to have if you're looking to get something to help guide you along the way. So that's a good one to put in your library as well. I have and I've yet to use this. I can't wait to actually look through this and pick some recipes to actually try. I have not done that, haven't had the time, but I look forward to doing that. This one here is the Amish Canning Cookbook. It says plain and simple living at its homemade best. And this is by Georgia Varozza, Varozza. So this one is the Amish Canning Cookbook. Put that to the side. This one here is the one that this is my go-to. So anytime I've had any questions, this is the book that I actually went to. This is the USDA Complete Guide to Home Canning. So if you want to know what types of food you're going to can in the water bath canner, this is what helps. Or in the pressure canner, this book was the one that helped me out quite a bit, other than watching YouTubers on canning. This was the book. This was my go-to book. Okay, so I want to get the books out of the way. Do you need them? I'm gonna say you may not, but they're helpful. They're helpful, especially this one here when you're starting out. For me, it was helpful. So, anyways, so my brand new canners. If you're fearful, let me put your mind at rest. In doing anything, you should always pray about it beforehand. That's me, and that's what I'm going to suggest. I'm having one of my mini vacations, so pardon me for just a second. Okay. For those of you too young to understand what a mini vacation is, that's a hot flash. I go through them quite often, have done it for years, and so it's nothing to me, but that's what it is. So anyhow, I have to, wipe my face off a little bit. So for you newbies, don't be nervous about doing your canning. If I can do it, you can do it. So don't be nervous. Again, I'm going to try to go through some other items that you're going to need. I told you about the second tray, so you don't need to hear about that again. These are the things that I use. Are they necessary? Some of them are, and some of them you decide whether or not you want to use them. Whatever your recipe calls for, you may need to have some measuring cups, okay? So I know it sounds like common sense, and maybe you already know this, and just bear with me. Someone might not. So measuring cups are a good thing to have on hand, along with some measuring spoons. You're following recipes, okay? I talked about the weights. I'm going to move those over here to the side. I usually use this is a drying rack, or drying mat, not rack, drying mat for your dishes. And I picked it up over at the Dollar Tree, so for $1. It is quilted and it is padded. And I normally use these guys to put my hot jars on after they come out of the canner. So like I said, they're just $1, and it's a hot pad, so I usually use those. You may also need to have a hot pad for helping you with lifting the jars or moving the jars around, because when they come out, they're very, very hot, very, very hot, and you don't want to risk burning yourself. So I will keep those on hand. Of course, you're going to want to have your jars, and you want to have those You buy them brand new, you still want to wash them and sterilize them or clean them real good before you use them, because you want to make sure they don't have any cracks or any flaws. Same thing with the when you get the let me see if I can get one whole set together here. The same thing when you get your set of lids and rims. You want to look them over to make sure they're in good working condition before you actually use them. So I don't know if everybody else does this, but I wash mine brand new. I wash them before I use them. I don't know if that's something that you need to do, but I do. It's just something that I do. Now, since I was talking about the lids and the rims, you can buy, if you haven't already, you can buy the rims and the lids together, okay? They call them bands, I call them rims, whatever you want to call them. But you can buy them together when they're in stock, okay? Or you can buy, this one's not open, this one's not open either. You can buy just the lids, which is, in this case, band, rim, lid. Okay, and the lid is the one with the seal, the rubber seal on it. Okay, so you can buy just the lids when they have them in stock. Again, I'm side eyeing when I say that. When they have them in stock, you can get them. So whenever you see them, buy them. When they're available, go ahead and get them. Where else can I go with this? So I showed you the rims, wide mouth, regular mouth rims. I showed you that you can buy them together. This would be the bands and the rims in a box. My backups, never use them, and I should probably back up a little bit so you can, I'm not cutting my face off here. But these are tattlers. These are supposed to be reusable. I have seen a few videos with people that have used them. I have not, so I can't really tell you how they work or how to use them or anything like that. All I know is that they do work, and I have them here for backup. And one of these days when I have some time, I'm actually going to really watch some videos to see what needs to be done to use them properly. But I have them for backup just in case. So I'm familiar with and comfortable with using the ball, the ones that, the metal ones that are not reusable per se. Okay, so that's what I use. So anyways, again, I was telling you about the jars. So just make sure that you have your jars appropriate size for whatever project you're going to be working on. For us, we normally do 2 sizes of beans. We will do the quart-sized beans, and we will do the pint-sized beans. Most of the time it's the quart because it's for the both of us. We're both eating, my husband and I, and it's just the 2 of us in the house. We're empty nesters. Of course, we're old people. So go figure. And then for beef stews and like meals, beef stew, pot roast, the beans, potatoes will go in here. What else do we put in these guys? I do sweet potatoes in here too. So that type of thing will go, depending on what your recipe calls for. That's or what your family needs. That's what I use the quart size for. The pint size I use for just about everything else. I use it for my ground beef. I use it for my taco meat. I use it. I use the pint for carrots and green beans and corn. All of them. I will use it this right here size. I also use this size when I'm doing like if I'm going to process cinnamon apples or pears or you know, things like that. I mean, there's a whole slew of things that you can do with these guys. So, and I just did butter with these guys too. And this one happens to be a wide mouth. So you're going to need your jars. And then my jelly jars and my jam jars, I usually make them this size. Although I might try doing the regular mount pint. I'm going to be doing some mulberry jam, which is my husband's favorite, and that's the best jam. Oh my goodness, that is the best jam that you could ever want to taste. That stuff is some good stuff. So I might do them in this size this year as opposed to this size because my husband really loves it. So anyways, jam jars, jelly jars, make sure you have your jars. I use a little container like this. This, you know, just a little Rubbermaid kind of, maybe generic, I don't know, bowl. And I put my vinegar in it. So I use this when I'm going to clean around the rims of my jar. So I use just a little bowl. Just get yourself a little bowl that you can put your vinegar or your water in, whatever you're going to use. You're probably going to need a measuring cup for your recipes. Canning jar lifter uppers. I have two. I have a standby. But canning jar lifter uppers to lift them out of the canner. Canning funnel is a good tool to have. A canning label. A canning ladle is a good tool to have as well. And a canning debubbler and headspace measurer. So that's what this end of it is used for, to measure your headspace. I'm an eyeballer, so I hardly ever use this part of it, but I do use the other end, and that is to debubble, to make sure that you don't have any air bubbles in your foods or your jars before you put them in the canner. So I think I may have covered everything. I think, oh, no. You know what else you may need? You may need the tall saucepans, depending on what your recipe calls for. These guys come in handy. They come in handy. I use this for when I'm doing my ground beef, because I normally do maybe 10, 15 pounds, maybe more than that at a time when I'm canning. So I will do the ground beef, and if I'm doing the taco beef, I will mix it up in here and keep it heated or what have you. But this guy comes in handy also for your jams and your jellies when you're heating those up, preparing those to be canned. So you may want to invest in a nice size saucepan. For the most part, I think that might be it. I usually use this right here when I'm filling up my canner, but you can use anything for that. You can even use the quart jars. So you don't really necessarily need this, but it's just for me in my hands, it just helps. And I'm not so careful, having to be so careful with the jars slipping out of my hands. So anyhow, and of course you're going to need your dish towels. But I think for the most part that might be all you're going to need. If I've missed something, I'll try and add it to, or I'll do another video. But I think for the most part, that's pretty much it. There's a couple rules that you want to adhere to. I had someone just recently ask me, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, sweetie, but she asked whether or not you can stack your jars. And the quick answer I gave her is no. You don't want to stack your processed jars of food. Let's see if I got one here. So I've got some beans here. So you don't want to put another jar on top of this or anything else on top of this, because you don't want to risk damaging your seal at all. So you don't want to double stack. You don't want to stack anything on your processed food. And you want to make sure that once you're done processing it, you let it sit overnight. You take the rim or the band off. You clean it up real good. You put the name of whatever it is on there and you date it. Make sure you do that. But then also, when you store it, you make sure that you don't have that band. You don't store it with the band unless a recipe calls for it, but I've never seen one so far. That doesn't mean that there isn't one. But for the most part, I have learned from the people that I've learned from, that you need to take that band off. So again, you're going to need some vinegar, and especially if you're working with meats or anything that's greasy, it's got fat on it. You want to wipe your rims down using the vinegar, and just be careful. Whatever you're processing, just be careful you don't get the vinegar inside your food while you're cleaning the rims off. Just be careful with it. I usually take it, dip it in the vinegar, and squeeze the tile off a little bit. And then I, run it around the rim. But I think for the most part, my dears, that might be it. If I have missed anything, if you still have questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. If you found this to be helpful to you, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Blessings to you. Thank you for watching. To all of my newbies out there, thank you so much for joining my family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And a big old shout out to Grammy Ya. Grammy Ya, you have sent so many people over to me. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. I hope that this video, as well as the other ones that I've done and the ones that I plan on doing in the future, will be of some help to you. Be blessed. I love you. Shalom. I almost forgot the handy dandy lid lifter, the magnetic ended lid lifter. These two are what I use. My husband bought me the extended version. But you're going to need a lid lifter.